is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
Welcome into the Walk-Thru presented by Triple F. I'm Jesse Smithey, your host tonight. It's state semifinal week. There's going to be history made. There's going to be history continued. A lot of big matchups on the line this Friday night. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Of course, this airs on Wednesday night, Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hope everybody's got their food menu lined up, all the food that they got. I already did my shopping on Sunday. I got all my items secured. I'm not scrambling last minute for anything, so hopefully you guys are in the same boat. Of course, Paige Dower, my co-host, is not here tonight. She's traveling this week off to see her family down in Florida, so wish her the best and definitely miss Paige up here tonight. So don't go anywhere. I know sometimes when my favorite host is not here or on a radio show, I don't always tune in, so I hope you stay locked in tonight. We've got a big show. A lot of guests on the program tonight, coaches, players, interviews, highlight films. We're going to break down some of the state semifinal matchups and much, much more on the Walk-Thru tonight here at Triple F. Festive atmosphere at Triple F as always. We got Santa up by the door tonight. We have a live, like full-size nativity set outside in the parking lot, so they're definitely in Christmas mode already here at Triple F. But if you're a parent out there, and look, you need to get your kid to Triple F. Trial run here. I think it's free. Come down here, check it out. You'll understand why this place is growing, why it's special, and why they invest their time in your kids. It's much, much more than just sports. It's faith, it's community, and it's getting your kids to do the right things on the court, on the field, and off right here at Triple F. Come see them. Not very hard to find. We're here each and every week on Mondays. Come on Mondays. That's a great night to come and check it out. Let's set the scene tonight for the state semifinal week. We've been keeping up with tabs kind of all throughout various stages of the playoffs. We did a bracket analysis in round one just to see how many losing record teams are in it, how many defending state champions are in it. So let's update you on that. We have 7 of our area teams still alive. Last week, I think we had 11. We are down to 7 here in the state semifinal weeks. 2 of the matchups that we'll talk about tonight on the show involve matchups between 2 local programs, so stick around for that. 5 defending state champions also still on the board here in the state playoffs, vying for repeat bids. 14 unbeaten teams to begin the playoffs. We're only down to 10, a surprising number of unbeaten teams still alive. We'll talk about some of them tonight. Now, in round 4, all the losing record teams are gone. CPA, Christ Presbyterian Academy, was the last team to play. I think they were last week. They were 4-8 in the state semifinals in Division II AAA, and they were ousted from the playoffs. So now all losing record teams are out of the playoffs here in round 4. However, Centennial in 5A and Fayetteville in 1A, they were 4-5 to begin the postseason. They are still in it here in the state semifinal round in Division I. So we'll see if they can kind of keep their miracle postseasons going, but definitely kind of some cool storylines to follow with those 2 schools in 5A and 1A. Update you on the Board of Control. Paige and I told you about this last week, that a meeting was coming on Thursday from last week. They were going to kind of discuss the playoff bracket system, this new system that has many people on the fence. Some are in favor of it, some are not, some don't like the travel, some have not been affected by the travel whatsoever. The Board of Control met about this in brief on Thursday. The meeting did not go like I thought it would. From a lot of people that I've talked to, there are some that are very angry about the travel costs that they've had to incur during the state playoff system. But it looked like everything kind of got tabled to January. Board members discussed some of the positives, and at the end of the designated time for them to talk about this playoff bracket system, they did address and bring up some of the negatives. But it seemed like they wanted more complete data from all 5 weeks of the playoffs, reports from all the schools. I've talked to some coaches who have sent in their reports, positives and negatives about the playoff bracket system. So maybe we get a more detailed discussion, a thorough discussion at their meeting in January. So right now, All systems are still a go for the playoff bracket system, it looks like, rolling into year 2 next year. But who knows? Maybe they get all this data and say, this does not fit our state. We can revert back to the old system, or we can kind of take a look around at what some of the surrounding states are doing. So stay with us at 5starpreps.com, especially in January when the Board of Control meets. Last night, or Tuesday night, the Tennessee Titans and the TSSAA announced their Mr. Football finalists, and we had a number of players make that cut. Again, this is all based off of regular season play, even though there was a cut between when the semifinalists were announced in early November and last night. It had nothing to do with what's going on in the postseason. The final vote is cast before the postseason even begins. The TSSAA just likes to release it in stages. So you can see the statewide list on 5starpreps.com. Anytime players like that are honored, we want to make that list for free, so check that out on 5starpreps.com. It's on all of our social media channels as well. We made graphics for all the kids who made finalists. Certainly there are some good players who were left off, but the state will honor Mr. Football finalists and Mr. Football winners the week after the state championships. So I think that's the Tuesday after the state championships. They will meet down at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, and we'll find out if we can break this slump, this streak where the last few years we've not had a Mr. Football winner when it comes to the skill players, I think since 2022. So hopefully we can get off the schneid there. All right, so let's take a look at the brackets before we get any deeper into tonight's show. Let's go off in 1A, 2 semifinals there. South Pittsburgh 12-1 at Coalfield 11-2. We'll discuss this game a little bit deeper in the show, but that's a rematch from last year's state semifinals. On the other half of the bracket, you have Fayetteville, one of those teams that I told you about that entered the playoffs with a losing record. They are 7-5 going against McKenzie. McKenzie, a team that's always kind of hanging around in the postseason at this stage, so they will not be a newcomer to the limelight. Now moving on to Class 2A semifinals, Marion County, state power for so many years, won multiple state championships, defending state champions in Class 2A. They are 12-1. They will come to Blount County to face Eagleton, who is the Cinderella of the postseason. They just a couple of weeks ago won their first ever playoff game, and now they are hosting a state semifinal. We'll be joined by Stephen Childs, the head football coach at Eagleton, here later in the program. You don't want to miss that interview at all. And in the other half of the 2A bracket, you got Huntington 12-1 against Milan, undefeated at 12-0. Class 3A, a classification that used to be ruled by Alcoa. Alcoa had won the last 10 consecutive state championships in 3A. They are now in 4A. Now left in the 3A bracket, you got Chattanooga-Tyner 12-1 playing at Gatlinburg-Pittman, undefeated season at 13-0. Gatlinburg-Pittman hosting a state semifinal. They're in the semifinal round for the first time since 1990. I looked it up today. The #1 song in America in November of 1990, Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. That's how long it's been since GP has played in the state semifinal. So it's going to be a raucous atmosphere down in Gatlinburg for sure. On the other half of the 3A bracket, you got Covington Chargers 12-1 against the Westview Chargers 12-0. Westview lost to Alcoa in the state championship last year. Got one of the Simpson kids at quarterback again and a number of other great prospects. They are expected to win 3A this year. We'll see if that holds true. In 4A, it's the matchup that everybody's been discussing this week. Alcoa going against Greenville at Greenville High School on Friday night. Both teams 12-1, both teams in peak form. That should be a fantastic football game. On the other half of 4A bracket, South Gibson against Pearl Cone. Of course, we've seen Pearl Cone in a number of state championships and state semifinals through the years. In 5A, Halls High School, fresh off that win over Central a week ago, back in the semifinals for the first time since 1996. They will go up to defending state champion Sevier County 12-1, who overcame a huge deficit last week in the final quarter to keep their season alive. So no quit in either of those Halls Sevier County teams. Also in 5A, it's Centennial 7-5, again 4-5 going into the playoffs against Page. Page has lost the last 4 state championships in a row in Class 5A. Odds are they're going to make it to a 5th championship game in a row. So whether it's West High School, whether it's Sevier County, whether it's Powell, East Tennessee is very familiar with this Page program. So whether it's Halls or Sevier County advancing, it looks like they're probably going to face the Page Patriots there in the state championship game. Class 6A, Blackman 12-1 beat Maryville last week against Oakland 13-0, 2 Rutherford County rivals. And then in the bottom half of the 6A bracket, you got Southwind 13-0 at Ravenwood 13-0. 3 of the 10 undefeateds left in the postseason brackets are in Class 6A. That's definitely something to kind of keep an eye on there. All right, going to break. We're going to come back here in just a little bit. Got a lot more games to break down, a lot more highlights and interviews to catch. And one of those interviews is with Todd Loveday, the Sevier County head coach. We're going to go to him and then come back and talk a little bit more high school football right here on the Walk-Thru.
Coach, obviously you guys take the 2-score lead early. They tied at halftime. I mean, just what was the message at the half, and what is it about this team to win games like this?
You know, literally play one play at a time, and obviously Lincoln County. You know, we talked all week. They had 5 games this year within 2 points. They won 4 of them. And last week coming back like they did, it's not a team that's going to lay down. It's a team you have to beat. Can't give them anything. And we made too many mistakes, not effort mistakes, just too many mistakes. And, you know, I should have kicked the field goal before halftime. A bunch of stuff went wrong. And our guys just play. Our coaches just coach. Our guys just play. And I knew if we had enough time and enough possessions, which they had a lot to do with that we'd make the plays, you know, when it mattered. But again, hats off those guys. That's a heck of a football team.
And your defense been a couple times tonight, but I mean, just what was your confidence level in them when they needed to come out and make a stop?
You know, I think a lot of teams would have folded with, you know, how they're run that buck sweep. I mean, 3 yards might not be good for some people when they're getting 3 and 4 yards a time. They keep the clock, and great plan by them, working the play clock down every time. And our guys stay patient. You know, a lot of teams would have some frustration type penalties. Our guys just play. They just know if we had to have that one stop, and they did it. And Joey Gallison not playing, not at 100% health wise, made one of the biggest plays we've had here on defense when he blew through and blew that 3rd down up.
And Cooper, just what can you say about his resiliency to lead this offense? Almost threw a pick there, but comes back and leads that drive to win it.
He's a team guy. He bleeds purple, and anytime we have the ball and a little bit of time on the clock, we got a chance to stick it in the end zone.
And then how tough is it to be in this position when you're trying to repeat? Is that a conversation at all with guys, or just kind of?
I think it is for everybody in the community, which is a great thing. And everybody always calls it defending a title, like it's a boxing match. But I think these guys have developed their own identity, especially the last 5 or 6 weeks. And but the same standards are there. You know, if the team's going to beat us, they're just going to have to beat us. And that was too close for comfort right there. But just love our guys. I wouldn't trade any of them.
The Film Room is presented by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Welcome back to the Walk-Thru. Before the break, you heard from Todd Loveday, and we're going to discuss all things Sevier County here in the second segment, as well as a lot of other games in the area. Let's go back, though, to round 3 of the playoffs, starting in 1A. Coalfield cruised past Sail Creek 40-7. Remember, we told you a week or 2 ago that Sail Creek really didn't have that many quality wins this year, even though their record looked fantastic. They hadn't, I think, only had 1 win over a quality team, and that was Rockwood early in the postseason. So you kind of felt like Coalfield would go down there and take care of business. They absolutely did that. Jaden Bunch, the running back at Coalfield, ran for over 200 yards. He had 5 touchdowns on the ground, 1 receiving. He is up for 5-star Preps Player of the Week this week and had a fantastic football game. Moving on to to 2A Eagleton, again, just the Cinderella of the playoffs here in East Tennessee. We're talking about a program that's only 3 years old, a program that had never won a state playoff game until a couple of weeks ago, and then they go on the road and win at Bledsoe County 24-23. Multiple defensive stops by the Eagleton defense there late in the first half. Then Lane Cope, their star wide receiver, makes the go-ahead touchdown late in the fourth quarter. out jumps a double coverage, and we'll talk with Stephen Childs, the head football coach, about that pass here coming up in the next segment. But a guy that has made big plays for them all season long came up big in that moment. Lane Cope, I felt like should have been in the Mr. Football semifinalist list. That didn't happen. I'm going to do my best to make sure he gets All-State for sure, because he's 1,200-yard receiver, 17, 18 touchdowns on the year, and also on defense, 5 or 6 interceptions. So big-time player for Eagleton, and they will host a state semifinal coming up this week. In 3A, Gatlinburg-Pittman 34, Meigs County 30. Had a little bit of an unsung hero step up for Gatlinburg-Pittman in this round. Cecilio Rodriguez, their number 2 running back, had a big-time game. He's up for 5-star Preps Player of the Week this week. A number of yards rushing, had a rushing touchdown, had a receiving touchdown. He's also their starting kicker. He was 4 for 4 on PATs. But we talked about what Gatlinburg-Pittman had to do the last couple of weeks in stopping high-octane run offenses. 2 weeks ago, it was Forrest, a running back who had 2,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns. They limited him. But in that game against Meigs County, it was more of a 2-pronged running attack. You had Tough Ricker and Caden Brewster, 2 guys that can absolutely get after it on the ground. And Gatlinburg-Pittman got out to a lead, and they held off Meigs County when it mattered most. And so they'll face a little bit different offenses here this week. We'll discuss that later in the show. But hats off to the Highlanders. They are back in the state semifinal round for the first time since 1990. I'm not really sure that they've ever hosted a state semifinal. If they have, it's been quite some time. So they win that game 34-30 and advance to the state semifinals. Alcoa 38-13 at Red Bank. I went down to that game on Friday night. It was just a bloodbath from the beginning. Alcoa had no obstacle to overcome whatsoever. Absolutely played flawless football. Thomas Manu, the quarterback, 16 of 20 throwing the football, 213 yards, 4 touchdowns. We're in round 4 now. He still has more touchdown passes thrown than incompletions thrown, which is just a mind-boggling stat. Condis Cherry still out for Alcoa. We told you about him, the all-purpose athlete, broken leg. He was not back there in the backfield helping. So it's going to be another running back by committee. I wonder if Thomas Manu runs the ball a little bit more over the next 2 weeks. I kind of thought early in the year he'd be a guy that run for 700-800 yards at this point, but they haven't needed him to be that. But he is certainly a guy that can make plays happen on the ground if that Greenville secondary comes up this coming week and slows down the passing attack of Alcoa. Speaking of Greenville, they get off the schneid. They finally get the better of Anderson County here recently, 28-21. Got out to a 21-7 lead. It looked like they were going to coast into the state semifinal round. Anderson County said not so fast. J.D. Gillum came back with a big touchdown pass. Then Jason Thompson got in the end zone. The next thing you know, it's 21-all up there in Greenville, and probably Burley Stadium was taking a collective gasp as it was almost like, okay, here we go again. Are we going to lose this football game? Greenville did not panic whatsoever, and I thought that was a sign of a mature football team, a football team that wanted that win in the worst way, and they marched right back down the field and got that win. Tegan Begley, a running back from Greenville, had a fantastic night running the football. He had that go-ahead touchdown run, I believe. 114 yards on the ground, complemented the night that Caden Ball had running the football. Caden Ball, the dual-threat quarterback at Greenville, had 141 yards rushing and over 100 yards passing in that game. There's a reason why he was up for Mr. Football this year. So now we get that big matchup, Alcoa-Greenville. We saw it in the regular season last year when Alcoa was in 3A. This time it means so much more. Halls High School, what can you say? Again, it's a tale that's been told many times the last few weeks. 0-3 to start the year. Nothing was going right for a team that was full of promise coming into the preseason in 2025, and now that promise has taken hold. They are in the state semifinals for the first time since 1996, and Amari Lethgo has played fantastic football at the quarterback position for Halls the last few weeks. Not to mention what Brody Rogers has done at wide receiver, what the run game has done, and more specifically what the defense has been able to do the last few weeks. And that was a central team that was without Javiston Badgett, 1,000-yard, 1,100-yard receiver. Remember, he got ejected from the Columbia game. They did not win that appeal, so that certainly helped Halls' chances. And Brent Hughes even mentioned that as much in the interview after the game. And so let's stop and let's hear from Brent Hughes following that win over Central High School on Friday night.
The Gatorade shower at the end. Describe that moment when that players poured the water on you.
Man, it's just, I love my kids. I don't know what else to say. I love them. We just found a way. we got dudes that make plays. We just number 9, number 0, number 3. It's just whatever. We found a way to make plays, and that moment's special because I get another week with my kids. That's all I care about.
First time since the turn of the century getting to the semifinals. What does that moment feel like for you?
You know, like, history's history. I get that part. And, like, it'll hit once, but, like, only thing that's going through my head, I get to see my kids Monday, and we're still rolling.
For Amari Lefko to kind of put this game on his back, especially in the second half when it was back and forth with the scoring, what did you like from your offense for them to be able to score time and time again?
Well, when you play a good football team like that, you have to go make plays. And our dudes make plays. 0 made plays, 3 made plays, 9 made perfect throws. And defense, we just found a way.
In this rivalry, what does a win like this mean for your program?
It just, I mean, like, we ain't just happy to be here. We're kicking the door down and we're here to win. That's what it means. We're not here. We're not just happy to be here. We're kicking the door down, and I know we're going to play a good opponent, but I'll ride or die with my guys.
Yeah, I love hearing the passion from Brent Hughes, and he told our reporter, like, look, we wish number 3 was out there. We wish him the best because that certainly would make that game more competitive, and you always want it best on best, right? At this time of the year, you don't want to hear any excuses, but that's the cards that were dealt, and Central was not able to have Jefferson Badgett out there. I thought Central still did a good job to make that game competitive, not having them. And they played Halls earlier in the season without Jefferson Badgett, who got hurt right before the fourth quarter of that game in the regular season. Central was able to close it out, but just couldn't make those big plays late. But unbelievable year by Central, unbelievable year by Caden Long was up for Mr. Football. And yeah, his Halls, man, what can you say? Just a fun story to cover right now. 5A, Sevier County got the win 28-24 over Lincoln County. And I don't know if I didn't learn my lesson from last year of just all the comeback wins from Sevier County. But when I was checking Twitter last Friday night and I noticed that Lincoln County was up 10 with 7:36 to play at Sevier County, I kind of gave up on Sevier County a little bit. I kind of did. I just, following that game all night long, it just looked like Lincoln County had started to own the clock a little bit, own the momentum of the game. But what did Sevier County do last year all throughout the playoffs? Make miraculous comebacks. What did they do against Greenville earlier this year? Make miraculous comebacks. We've seen them do it time and time again. Down 10, 7:36 to play. They came back and won that game in regulation. Nathan Patterson, the running back from Sevier County, got that go-ahead touchdown. I thought that was a huge game for his confidence going into this state semifinal. Had over 120 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Cooper Newman, a fantastic quarterback for Sevier County. He's authored so many of these rallies for the Smoky Bears. We caught up with him after the game. Here's our conversation with Cooper Newman.
Walk me through that last drive. What was kind of the mindset for you guys, and what was discussed in that huddle before you guys took the field?
Yeah, we knew we had like 4 minutes left or so, down by a couple points, and we needed a touchdown to go score. Our offense did such a great job, whether it's pass blocking, running the ball, catching the ball. I'm so proud of this team tonight. We were able to get points, and the defense got to stop for us to go win the game.
What was the message at halftime? Obviously, you guys go up to 2 scores. They come back and tie it, then take the lead in the third quarter. Just what did you guys talk about at the half?
Yeah, we knew this is how this game was going to be. They're a great football team. We knew this heading in. They had a great defense, and we were going to have to find little holes that we could to score the ball. And it took us a little longer than we wanted to, and maybe in a situation we didn't want to be in, but we ended up getting the win.
Yeah, and you guys kind of have a target on your back, obviously, winning state last year. Is there any kind of difficulty in repeating? Do you guys think about that at all? And do you feel like that may be a reason why teams come in here and give you their best shot?
We don't really look at it like that. I mean, we know how hard it is to win in those big games like tonight especially. It means so much. This team's so hungry to get back to another week of playing football, so we're going to be able to practice on Thanksgiving next week, and we're super thankful for it.
And then obviously Parker had a huge catch there for you. I mean, just kind of speak a little bit about your connection with him and just how big he was for you tonight as a target.
Yeah, mistaken as a brother. I mean, we're no relation at all, but he's such a good football player, man. I mean, he's a great receiver. He's going to play tight end probably at the next level. He did so many great things for us on both sides of the ball tonight, and he's going to be ready to go next week as well.
And then Nate, just how big was he getting in the end zone that last play, just really for you all night on that last drive?
Yeah, the sophomore running back, still the underclassman. I'm so proud of him. I knew we were going to give him the ball in that situation on 3rd and 1. He was going to go get us some points.
And just last thing, what's it like in a moment like that? You know, you get down, you got to get in the end zone or the game's over. I mean, you've been here before, but kind of walk me through what it's like mentally for you in that moment.
Yeah, like you said, we've been here before, so you don't even think twice on it. You just get the ball, and no matter the score, you don't even look up the scoreboard. You know you got to go. That's the goal, is to go score every possession. And I'll go do that in the biggest moment.
And then I guess one more thing, the defense, kind of been a couple times tonight, came up with stops when you needed it. Just how much confidence does that give you, having those guys behind your back?
It's huge confidence. It goes to those seniors, man, up front. They're so good at really just like judging what the other team's going to do. And they had a couple big plays. We knew that. We did too as well. And like I said, they're the backbone to this team.
Appreciate Cooper taking the time to talk to us there, and they know what they're up against in Halls this week, and we'll break down that game a little bit later in the show. Blackman High School 31-7 knocked out Maryville. We all kind of thought Maryville was going to get that rematch with Oakland High School in the state semifinal rounds. We've seen it so many times over the last decade plus, but just weren't able to get the offense going last week whatsoever against a really good Blackman football team. And we talked about it on the show last week, and I really couldn't find a star for Blackman High School. Maybe one emerges as a big prospect in the spring or so, but I just didn't see the star power on that Blackman team. But it looked like they had unbelievable defenses. If you can hold Maryville to seven points, you're definitely doing something. So look forward to seeing what Blackman can do against Oakland here in the semifinal round. And real quick, going out the door, if you didn't see what Baylor did last week to rival McCallie, 56-35, running back David Gabriel Georges, 32 carries, 431 yards, and 7 touchdowns. This is a running back that we brought you film of last week when they beat Catholic High School. It's a running back who's the number 1 2027 running back in the country, and a running back that Tennessee very, very much wants. I've heard people that have covered high school football down in the Chattanooga area for decades say he is the best high school football player we've covered. Better than Riggs, better than a number of other players that have come through there, whether at McCallie, Baylor, South Pittsburgh, what have you. This guy's legit, and hopefully you get a chance to tune in and watch him play in the state championship game. Division II semifinals were last week. Those matchups are already set in the championship games in Division II, so we'll get to see him in Chattanooga. So a lot more to get to here on the program. We're going to talk with Stephen Childs, the head football coach at Eagleton, next, but before we go anywhere, we're going to catch some highlights that Paige Dower shot for us from the Hall Central game right now.
Film Room is presented by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
I'm Jesse Smithey, your host tonight, and now joined by Stephen Childs, head football coach at Eagleton. And Stephen, man, I know the last, 3 or 4 days have probably been a whirlwind for you since you guys won that state quarterfinal. Take me through your life these days. Just you told me your phone's ringing off the hook.
Yeah, it's super exciting, first and foremost. Proud of the kids, all good things. But we're hosting a semifinal, trying to get our stadium ready for the crowd that we expect. The county is super excited. Blount County Schools is offering help. I've talked to principals at both schools. We're trying to get barriers. Do y'all still have barriers? So we're trying to logistically figure out where we're going to park people and how we're going to funnel people in. So all those things are more of an administrative, operational task, but it's still fun. It's still, the excitement's cool, and we're having a blast.
So for the people watching out there that maybe don't know why you guys are having to do this is just your third year as a high school football program. We talked a little bit on the phone Friday night as we were both coming back from the Chattanooga area. And again, to see this program take this meteoric rise right here in year 3, you were telling me at one point you guys were practicing on a baseball field. You had no kind of facilities probably to
Right.
get like, how far has this come in just 3 years? Probably had more years before.
Yeah,
that.
so I've been there 5 years. Year 1, we were working out in what is now a science lab. So we had eight racks and working out, and we had a little locker room, like a PE locker room. Once we got into spring, we were walking to Eagleton Ballpark, which is 0.4 of a mile from campus. It's not far, but we would walk in helmets and shoulder pads, full pads sometimes, to the ballpark and practice in the outfield. All the while, we could see the construction going, right? So like we knew this was a short-term thing, but at the same time, that's a little bit of adversity for a freshman, 8th grader. Like how much do you really love football? Like if you're having to go through all of this stuff, how much do you really love it? And obviously now we are super blessed with what we have. It's an unbelievable facility. It's a great place to watch a football game. It's exciting.
I know you're not ready to stop and really take it all in and appreciate it, but still, when you get to this point, and you're checking off wins in the playoffs, and you can kind of take a little glimpse back. It makes you
Right.
appreciate it a little more, right?
No doubt. And I've got an experienced staff, offense coordinator that's coached for 20 plus years, defense coordinator who's coached for 10 plus years. And we were in the second round of the playoffs, and we were just discussing, like, this is a lot of people coach for a long time, and they don't have that opportunity. He was like, I've coached for 20 years and I've never coached in a second round game. So yes, to tell you that our staff is enjoying this. Blount County's obviously blessed with, Alcoa and Maryville, been in these situations often. And for us, it's so exciting to see Blount County Schools in this situation, and talking to the director and other principals, like the excitement for Blount County Schools, let alone just Eagleton and the village. So Blount County government has obviously invested a lot into this school and converting a junior high to a 612 school, and I think a lot of the people who voted on that and encouraged that and got behind the school system with that vision has been a lot of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
So.
when you get to this stage, and I can remember back when I first started covering high school sports, and we would get to the state championship media day that they used to have down in Nashville, and there would be a program, a Catholic or somebody that was down there for the first time, and and they were talking with George Quarles at Maryville or Gary Rankin at Alcoa, picking their brain. At this stage, are you calling programs and go, okay, hey, do we go too hard on Thursday, or we kind of take it light on Thanksgiving? Like, are you picking up pointers from people?
I mean, I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That's kind of been the mentality. We didn't change the practice time. You know, we get our kids at the end of the school day, so we lift and we do meetings and checks and all that stuff. So we didn't want to change that a whole lot. We got them in a little bit earlier, so we're going 1 to 4. Get them out a little earlier, and then Thursday we're gonna bring the tradition that I was a part of and being thankful, right? Like the holidays, and we're going to feed them breakfast. We're going to get them up early, and then after a walk-through, go be with your family for lunch and dinner, right? So it's a really cool tradition, I mean, that we got to be a part of at Maryville, but it's see if we can do that as well, you know, so.
Well, let's talk about the team. Some of the guys that I'm familiar with, Mason Mitchell at quarterback. Tell me about that young man and kind of what's been impressive about his play this year.
Mason has been unbelievable in the fact that Lane Cope has had massive numbers. Well, somebody's got to throw Lane Cope the football, right? So Mason has handled all of that really well. He probably doesn't get the recognition, the notoriety that he probably deserves. The kid's thrown for 2,600 yards and almost 30 touchdowns, so he's more than just a game manager, right? Like, he's done a phenomenal job leading this team and getting wins under his belt. So he's done a great job.
You shared a cool moment with me last week where we talked about the touchdown catch that Lane Cope had late in the game. It was against double coverage. Maybe the ball shouldn't have been thrown, but when you got a player like that, sometimes you just kind of roll the dice, right?
Right.
And let it fly.
At least they do, right? Like, it's one of those balls where no, what do we do? Great job, and then you go celebrate. But no, like they trust each other. Like, and I played receiver. I was never not open, right? Like, so talking to your quarterback, I'm sure like those conversations have happened, but no, he really, like, where the ball was in that scenario probably where the ball needed to be, and Lane obviously went up and made a catch. So the two of them have a special relationship, and it's been fun to watch and watch it grow.
Yeah, Lane Cope, wide receiver at Eagleton, well over 1,200 yards, around 1,200
yards.
now, yeah. Nearly 20 touchdowns, 17 or 18 touchdowns. What makes him special?
His work ethic, he's a dude. I call him a dog. Like, he wants the ball. He's going to go get the ball if it's in the air. And he's a believer in himself, right? He might be a little undersized, but that doesn't faze him. Like, he's a tough-nosed kid. He's a wrestler. He's been in the state tournament 3 of the 4 years, going into his senior year. So he's just a tough kid that is a leader for us.
On defense, I see the name Tyson Click all the time, whether it's tackles for loss, whether it's sacks. Tell me about his play, kind of his size, his build, and how you guys utilize him defensively.
We move him everywhere. We put him as head up of the center. We put him as a shade on the center. We put him as a heavy 5. We put him all over the front. Unbelievable kid, a motor unlike any other. Another one of those wrestlers. A common theme with our team. Yeah. Our tough-nosed kids are a lot of wrestlers, and he works hard, And for us, he's not the most vocal leader, but he's got a motor that doesn't stop. So we obviously feed off of that, and he's helped lead us to where we are.
This Friday night, you guys play Marion County, defending state champion, and I was looking at their stats today and trying to glean something from that. Tell us about them and kind of what you guys expect offensively, defensively out of them.
Team speed is the most team speed we'll have seen. Offensively, their quarterback must have got hurt early in the year. and then he's come on strong here late. Super athletic, 2 running backs that can take it the distance probably at any given time. But they're like us. They have a lot of guys that play both ways, and the same kids we're talking about are the same kids on defense that see ball and they attack the football. So we got to try to find a way to slow that down. We've preached as a program, like, we don't want to match intensity, physicality. Like, we want to bring that, and I think the last couple of weeks when we've played the teams we have, Grundy County is a massive physical football team. Bledsoe County is technicians and physical in what they do with their offensive style. So our message has kind of been like, hey, let's be known, like, let's make it known, like, who we are. Let's not match intensity. Let's try to bring that intensity. So we're going to try to do the same thing Friday night. Obviously, traditionally a good football program, and you watch film and you see their scoreboard. Our kids see that, defending state champ, state runner-up X amount of years. In the 90s, they had a run. So our kids see that, and they're excited. They're excited for that opportunity, and let's see if we can take a next step as our program. Like, enjoy this ride, but don't be satisfied.
They have plenty to play for, obviously, your players do. As I'm sitting here doing this interview, I have to admit, I have beard envy. I've always wanted to grow a beard like this. Do you add incentive to your guys? Hey, if we make it to state or we win state, I'll shave this off, anything like that?
They know better. They don't know me any different. I've always had this. So it's, no, that's not been discussed. Okay. I hope they don't see this interview and come up with something.
Yeah, apologies.
This is, I don't know. In 2A, I feel like we have to do that.
Yeah.
Year 1, Lunsford, up at Hampton, we kind of had a competition going, like who had the bigger beard, So.
I got you. It's definitely nice, and you put some good work into it. I always wish I could grow a beard like that, but the Lord didn't bless me with coaching. All right, Stephen, man, appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming down here for the show. Wish you guys the best of luck on Friday night. That's Stephen Childs, head football coach at Eagleton. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more here on the Walk-Thru.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Today. I think I was proud. We talked about we had some personal foul penalties last week that were uncharacteristic of us. We had a couple of Shannon Mitchell and Jerron Tony come and talk to our guys this week about what it means to win the Alcoa way. And that's with respect, that's with class, play to the whistle, be vicious, be violent, but be respectful of the game, respectful of the team. And I thought we did a great job of that tonight. We were picking people up, patting them on the head. I love when when you identify something that's important, your team responds. So really proud of that. And just a talented football team to come down here on the road and get a win. We had a couple of guys banged up, playing through some injuries, but that's what's got to happen this time of year.
Yeah, Coach, I know Thomas always having a great night, but tell me a little bit about the guys up front. I know giving them time. I know he got banged up a little bit, but still overall a pretty good time.
Yeah, I think, we've developed some depth in our offensive line. I feel like we've got 7 or 8 guys that can get in there and play and give us valuable minutes, and that's what's going to take this time of year. At one point we had 3 running backs. We may come back. We had a freshman in there, Brody King, that come in there and did a really good job. So, it's just this time of year you're going to have injuries, you're going to have difficulties. You got to battle through it.
Coach, you were able to avert any kind of scare they were throwing. They dropped the ball, I think, with that first series, and then you guys got interceptions, stops on downs. Like, anytime they were threatening to put a scare into this game, y'all were able to stop that. It's a sign of maturity to be able to do this on the road.
Yeah, I think so. That's with, we practice situations on defense. You're not going to line up just 3 and out people in the playoffs. We practice third and shorts. We practice in the red zone. We practice, okay, they've got a drive going. We've got to stop them. And so I think we did a really good job of maintaining our composure, just continuing to play. And, our leader stepped up, made some big plays. D. Sutter, he's been playing with a hurt knee, and he's getting better every week, getting back to full speed. He played really well. Having Jam back, makes a difference. But I think we've had composure all year long on defense. We've got a bunch of kids that play really hard, and our coaches do a great job of getting them prepared.
Road game last week, road game this week, road game next week. How have you guys embraced that?
Yeah, I think, it's almost eliminates distractions. You get out of school, you get on the bus, and you kind of have them confined to, home games or stuff going on. Obviously, we love playing at our place. I want to thank our fans, making that 2-hour trip to Baxter, now making the 2-hour trip to here. I can't thank our fans enough. That they will travel and spend their time, spend their money to come support these guys, and it means so much. It's what's great about Alcoa, the community, and it wouldn't be Alcoa without our fans. And those stands were packed tonight in a rainy night, the weekend before Thanksgiving. So it means a lot to us.
Also, just the variety of offensive weapons that you guys were able to show in the first half. I mean, you weren't just relying on Jameer Dean. I mean, there's a lot of different guys that you can plug in and play and trust.
Yeah, I think to me, Jalen Pinson has been underappreciated all year long. He has made big catches. He's made long runs. He's really been underappreciated. Haynes Hawkins is a sophomore that has came on really when Jacoby got banged up last week. Jam being out. Haynes Hawkins just came in and made some great plays. And he's a kid that, early in the year, we played him some safety. We were working him in some different places, and he stayed positive. He continued to work. And I was like, man, before it's all over, you're going to get the things you want. So I really appreciate him staying with us. And, two running back, Damari DeBose, little dude, he's a warrior. You give me 4 or 5 of him and I'll never lose. Just the way he plays on defense, the way he carries the ball, and he's definitely a leader for us.
You have some familiarity with Greenville. I remember y'all playing them a couple years.
We played them the last 2 years. I think just when you going to Greenville's like, it's a hostile environment. And is that game over? I mean, is that
like 21-7?
21-7. I just think they're just a well put together team, well coached. They play tough. They play physical. And you're going to have to beat Greenville. Greenville's not going to beat themselves. The environment's going to be great. It's what the semifinals are supposed to be. It's going to be a war, and we're going to have to get in there and battle and make one more play than they do.
The film room is presented by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
Just heard from Brian Nix there following Alcoa's win over Red Bank that I got to see last week down in Chattanooga, and it looks like Alcoa knows what it's getting into in this 4A semifinal with Greenville. Again, they played the Green Devils last year. They beat the Green Devils last year in Alcoa. So I think there's some familiarity between these two programs, and they know exactly what to expect going up to Burley Stadium. All right, let's get into the state semifinal breakdown and our predictions from 5starpreps.com. Starting in Class 1A, South Pittsburgh 12-1, rolling into Coalfield 11-2. This is a rematch of a state semifinal won by South Pittsburgh last year 31-6. But I've told you multiple times on the program this year that South Pittsburgh has had an influx of talent during the offseason. They now look like a 3A team, a 4A team, according to some of my more trusted sources down in the Chattanooga area. They had 2 guys up for Mr. Football semifinalists that let you know the depth of talent that this South Pittsburgh team has this year. Coalfield is going to have to muddy this game up, and I say that a lot, and when I mean that, I mean kind of get it sloppy play, get South Pittsburgh turning the ball over, but I also mean that we got some rain coming in the area this week. Coalfield definitely has a natural grass, so maybe we can get some sloppy conditions. Maybe Coalfield got wet ball for South Pittsburgh and get them to turn the football over a couple of times. They're going to have to really make South Pittsburgh struggle conditions-wise, I think, to stay competitive in that football game. Coalfield looking for its first state championship berth since it finished runner-up in 2014. 5-Star Preps, though, we're going to go ahead and pick South Pittsburgh to win this football game. Of course, the other semifinal, the winner will face McKenzie Fayetteville in the state championship game next week. Moving on to 2A, Marion County 12-1 at Eagleton 10-3. We heard from Stephen Childs, the head football coach at Eagleton, in the last segment about all the measures they're having to take to prepare for this moment. They're not used to being in this state semifinal round. There's been so many things, media calling them, so many things they're having to do to prepare for this football that's externally. It's going to be interesting to see how the coaches kind of keep the program, the football players in that locker room, kind of tunnel vision, focus on the task at hand and not look at the periphery and get distracted by everything that's going on. It's going to be tough when you've never been in the state semifinals before, and that's what Eagleton is doing here in their 3rd year as a football program. Marion County loves to get after the football defensively. They turn teams over. They have tons of tackles for loss. They have tons of sacks. They are going to put pressure on the Eagleton offense, and they have really good, solid quarterback play in Mason Mitchell and a great wide receiver to throw to in Lane Cope, but I'm going to go with the defending state champions in this game just because they're used to this. They know how to handle the state semifinals, the brighter lights on this Friday night, and everything that comes along with Thanksgiving week and practicing when you're out of your routine a little bit. So got Marion County winning that football game. They will face the winner of Huntington and Milan in the state championship a year ago. I think Milan lost to Marion County in the state championship last year, 17-7. So that lets you know how Marion County plays defense. Moving on to 3A, Chattanooga-Tyner 12-1 at Gatlinburg-Pittman 13-0. We've told you multiple times throughout the night, Gatlinburg-Pittman back in the state semifinal round for the first time since 1990. Tyner has won championships recently. They're, again, used to this round. They know what to expect, and they have some big-time college football prospects, especially at left tackle. They have a 6'6", 285-pound left tackle who's starting to get looks from Louisville and Duke, and a number of other prospects, such as a defensive end that is an absolute man-child. They got an athlete that they can use in various spots. They had 2 rushers go for over 100 yards last week and averaged about 20 yards a carry. So this is a significant, powerful football team in Chattanooga-Tyner that Gatlinburg-Pittman is going to have to find a way to slow down. That being said, Gatlinburg-Pittman has found a way to slow down teams the last couple of weeks, and that's been impressive. I like Tyner to win this football game, though. Just again, nobody's been able to slow this team all season long except for a Division II AA team in week 1 of the season. Since then, Tyner has absolutely blown everybody out. I don't think anybody has come within 24 points of them since week 1. So I can't ignore that. I want the best for GP. I think it'd be awesome to see the Highlanders in a state championship game. But if I'm being honest with our viewership, I got to go with Tyner to win that football game. All right, moving on to Class 4A, where Alcoa 12-1 goes up to Greenville at 12-1. Greenville has has gone to 5 state championships in its history, has 4 state championships to its credit, has not been to a state championship game since 2018. Of course, we know Alcoa is very used to winning state semifinals. They have won 10 championships in a row. And look, they were just up at Burley 2 years ago. That game got washed out by weather, but they know what to expect. They know it's going to be just like a home game at Alcoa. We heard Brian Nix talk about that in our interview. They know it's going to be a war. They know it's going to be a crazy environment, and they've played in all kinds of environments. So I don't think they're going to be rattled whatsoever by what they're going to face on Friday night at Burley. But something different about this Greenville team, something special that I like from the quarterback position in Caden Ball. I still feel like they need to get Zayden Anderson involved in some pass plays, and I think they will do that. But I know the Alcoa secondary, they got a lot of veteran guys back there. They're looking forward to that matchup against Zayden Anderson. They've seen the headlines, they've seen the tweets. They want that matchup to see what their best looks like against Greenville's best. So I think this is a matchup of 2, obviously defensive-minded head coaches, but offensives that fit your 2 dual-threat quarterbacks that are up for the Mr. Football Award. Kind of 2 mirroring programs. I think this is going to be a very tight football game. I feel like Greenville's going to win it this year. Obviously, it's not going to surprise me in the least if Alcoa finds a way to win. They always find a way to win. But just seeing what I've seen out of Greenville at various points throughout the year, there's something special, a certain type of fate or chemistry, an it factor, if you will, that I can't ignore. So I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to gamble a little bit and take the Greenville Green Devils to win that football game over Alcoa on Friday night. Moving up to 5A, Halls 8-4 at Sevier County. Sevier County, obviously the defending state champion. Halls is looking for that first title game appearance since 1996 when they finished runner-up. They have 1 state championship to their name, and that's in 1986. That was a beloved team up in the Halls community, and this team at Halls is kind of vying to win over the hearts and souls of that community up there at Halls High School, and they've been doing that week by week of the playoffs. Again, very impressive that they have been able to keep the steam rolling. I compared it to a basketball team who's fighting from 15, 20 points down, and they finally get to pull even or maybe take a 1-point lead, and they kind of run out of gas. We have not seen Halls run out of gas just yet, and I think a lot of that's because of the mentality that Brent Hughes has infused into that locker room, belief and energy into that football program at Halls High School. But again, Sevier County is the defending state champion. They have a lot of know-how. They have a lot of defensive prowess. The 6'5" linebackers they have in Parker Newman and Joey Gallazin have been unbelievable this year. The playmaking of Bryson Hedrick, the playmaking of Cooper Newman at the quarterback position. it's going to be a fun matchup. It's the TV game. I do invite everybody to go out though. Get out of your house. You've been cooped up for Turkey Day. Get out of the house, go out to a high school football game, get down to Sevier County and watch that football game. I'm taking the Smoky Bears to win this football game, get back to the state championship, and face off with Page. But again, keep an eye on that Hall team. They definitely know how to throw a wrinkle in some things. All right, that should be it. I'm not going to predict the 6A. 6A is Oakland versus Blackman, Ravenwood versus Southwind. 3 out of those 4 teams are all undefeated. In Division 2, the championship matchups are already set. That'll be next week at Finley Stadium. That will be Nashville Christian School and Jared Curtis, who a lot of people are saying might flip from Georgia to Vanderbilt. We'll keep an eye out on that. He's a 5-star quarterback. You'll get a chance to see him play there on Thursday next week. You got BGA, the team that ousted Grace Christian. They'll take on FRA in the Division II AA state final. And then Baylor, undefeated with David Gabriel Georges, will take on undefeated Brentwood Academy in the Division II AAA. And then so we'll see those games on Thursday night next week at Finley Stadium. And then, of course, Friday night we'll decide who all makes it into the Division I matchup. So keep up to tabs with all of that on 5starpreps.com. We're going to have photos, we're going to have videos, we're going to have recaps, and so much more, all right there on our social media channels on Friday night and into Saturday morning. So hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough tonight, all the highlights, all the interviews. We'll have much, much more. We'll have Paige back next week right here at Triple F. So hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in championship week.
This is the walkthrough, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the walkthrough.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.